This is a live demonstration for the Civil Rights Montage project that's been designed for 4th grade in the state of Utah. Here's our civil rights leader. I've got 2 templates on the lesson plan here. One of Martin Luther King Jr., one of Abraham Lincoln. We're going to use this one for the live demonstration. This template was taken from artifactory.com. I've got the template up also with the lesson plan on the website. When it's finished, the montage is going to look like this, but we're going to cut it down into individual pieces, and we're going to give each student just one piece to work on. Some of the students can work in a team on some of these more difficult pieces. There's enough here that the students can work on teams to do the project. But basically, I want to demonstrate how this is going to work. Each student will get one of these pieces to work from. They're not going to know what it is, per se. Now, these pieces are 2 inches across. Okay? Two inches across. The final one that we're going to make, each square is 4 inches across. So this is a lesson in ratios also. So they're going to need to take this and upscale it to match on here. It's going to be kind of difficult at first, but if you demonstrate it for them and help them individually after the demonstration, they're able to do this. So the first thing that you want to do after you pass them out is demonstrate live and show them to use a ruler to help them to get a pretty good estimate as to what these shapes are going to look like here. Emphasize that the shapes are going to be twice as big over here. So they're going to have to use a little bit of math. For example, we can use the inch or the centimeter side. To the first mark there, that is basically a 1/4 of an inch. So if I was to do a 1/4 of an inch 2 times, that's going to be a 1/2 inch. So over here, that line is going to start a 1/2 inch in. Keeping the orientation the same way. This shape is about a 1/4 of an inch tall, which means that over here, it's going to have to be double that, about a 1/2 inch tall. Where does it end over here? That's about a 1/2 inch in, which means that on the big one, it's got to be double that, which is 1 inch in. Right now, I'm not copying the shape exactly. I'm just trying to get my measurements right. I know that it's this tall. I know that it's here. I know that it goes to there. Okay. I know that about a 1/2 inch in, it's going to have this kind of bend, and then it's going to go down a little bit. So that means over here, is it at a 1/2 inch? No, it's at 1 inch that it's going to kind of curve in and do that. Then I'm going to do my best to kind of estimate to get that same shape going. Notice we're using a pencil to start. We can use our ruler to help us measure. Okay, so that's not bad. That looks twice as big. There is this little teeny mark on this side. about 1/8 of an inch, so it should only be about 1/4 of an inch over here. You're going to want to do this lesson after you've gone over some measurement with your class. That's 1/4 of an inch till that one starts, which means over here it's going to be at a 1/2 an inch where it starts. If your students are having a hard time with the inches side, you can have them use the metric side. There's not quite as many fractions in that. Sometimes there still will be, but in some cases it's easier for the students to measure. Alright, now I'm looking at this shape over here, and I know that this side's going to be about how tall off of that paper. Oops. Oh, see, that's kind of a hard fraction there. It's a little bit more than 1/2 an inch. That's only 1.5 centimeters though. 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3, so maybe I'll just do 3 centimeters. I know that this shape that I'm working on right here got to keep my orientation the same way. It's got to be like 3 centimeters tall. So I know it's going to come about to here. Let them know that there is going to be just a little bit of estimation involved in this. It's not going to be totally perfect. 1.5. That means this is 3. Okay. But the idea is to get them to do as many measurements as possible so that they can get this as accurate as possible. Okay. Not looking too bad from here. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so that I can, and just estimate so I can show you the next step. But in essence, the students should do their very best to try to replicate the shapes they're seeing here. This one is about 2 centimeters tall, which means it's going to be about 4 over here. 1.5, which means it's going to be about 3. Okay. It seems pretty difficult, but last year my 4th grade students were able to do this really well by the end of the year. We did this project near the end of the year and they did just fine. Okay. So after this step, your students will double check your work with you, and you can see if they've done a pretty good job of upscaling with their ratios and their measurements. And then they're going to come over to this and they're going to find the matching piece. They're going to look around, they're going to look around. Oh, what do you know? We've been actually working on this piece right here. So now we know that this piece, and I've previously labeled what colors I want them to do. Oh, this part's got to be blue, so they'll go back to their desk. Blue. We know that this part's all got to stay white, and these pieces are also going to be blue. So we'll go back, and we're going to do our best to color these things in. If we finished before another group, we're going to help them as a team to get their measurements right and to finish their pieces as well. Each piece of this montage is essential, and it's all about teamwork and working together. That's the underlying message of this lesson. It's all about the civil rights movements, the power of the individual, and also unifying for a greater cause. And near the end of the lesson, when the students are all done with their pieces, you'll have them basically make a jigsaw puzzle and put it all together, and they should get that sense of satisfaction that they helped with part of this something greater. It's great for exposition. Please check the lesson plans that I have posted up online, and I hope this tutorial is helpful.